Welcome to Our Country Life. I'm Cinnamon. So today I'm actually going to show you guys our garden. This is our garden tour for 2025. So let's go. So in any kind of tour, you want to have everything set up perfectly, but this is realistic. So like today, I was working on trimming some stuff, so we'll just have to step over that. So it is the end of the season, but I wanted to kind of show you guys what I had set up because it changes every single year. So over here, I did plant, this is actually my second round of beets. So I'll do second rounds sometimes. I don't know if they're necessarily even gonna come up, in time, but I try. So there's a second round of beets. Got rosemary in the back. There is dill over here on each side of my cucumber, and I had all this had cucumbers and a bunch of the plants were done, so I took them down. But even though this one looks like it's like completely done, it just keeps giving me more cucumbers, so I just keep it. So I did plant, actually, if you want to come over here, I did plant another round of cucumbers. So they're very little itty bitty plants and they probably won't produce in time, but that's okay. So I have that. And dill is actually a good companion plant for cucumbers. So that's why I have some on each side. We have rosemary right behind it. Oh, sorry, that was oregano. And then rosemary over there. And then this is actually my second round of peas. This is the first year I've had asparagus. And so I'm not very familiar with asparagus, this being, the first year we've had it. So, but I've been told that you have to let it, you have to have it for 3 years, and like in year 3, then you'll start be able to have it produce good asparagus and stuff. So I guess just keep watering it and let it be, since this is the first year. So over here, I did have a red lake currant plant, and it gave me one little berry, and then the second one that came in, the birds came and got. So I was very sad about that, but I just got that this year. Oops, it's really windy out here. Thank you, babe. Okay, anyways, so these are blueberry plants that I have. I just got this one this year. It did give me some. There's a blueberry plant here, here, and here. These two, that one didn't do very good. That one did okay. That one did really well, and then all the birds got all the blueberries. So I'm gonna have to do some kind of a netting next year, but you live and you learn. These were lily plants. It was really hot this summer, and even if I'd water stuff, the sun would burn the plants and stuff. So there wasn't really anything I could do about that. But they did get watered, I promise. So over here, I actually have 3 different types of grapes. So this was actually a plant from Menards that I got, and it's like a seedless grape. So this one will have green grapes. These other 2 ones I got from a greenhouse actually in Michigan. And so this one is supposed to be good for wine. I'm not sure what the variety is, but this one I know is Concord grape, which I was really excited about that. And so this one I actually just got at the end of last season. So this is only the second year I've had it, and these 2 I've had for 3 years. And this one actually, let's see if there's any on here. Oh, I wonder if the birds got to them or if they fell down. Darn, I did have a couple of grapes. Like this one, it looks like it's dried up and stuff, but it actually did have some grapes this year. They were very, very small. And I kept trying to wait for them to get ripe and stuff, and it's like as soon as they got ripe they fell, so you have to really keep an eye on them, I guess. So but hopefully next year I'll have more, because there was only a couple, but I was just excited to get some this year. So over here we had a different setup this year for our tomatoes. We went ahead and did eye hooks up there, and we had string where we tied it to or we anchored it into the ground. I use those landscaping pins. I don't know if that's the name for them, that's what I call them. Staples, landscaping staples, I think they call them. But I took the string and I twist it and then put them in the ground, and then the string would continue a little bit, and I wrapped around another one, put it in the ground too. And so it was right near where we planted the tomato plants. And so we had some cherry down here, and also some tropical sunset, which is very small. tomato, but it's like a non-acidic and is like the juiciest, best tomato like for when you're out in your garden and you just want to eat one. And so that was over here. Then I had Roma, and then I had beefsteak tomatoes. And so actually halfway through the summer, they all fell down from the weight and stuff. The strings were too small, but I needed the small ones in order to have those one clasps that you have to help get it up the thing. So yeah, it didn't work. So we're gonna try something next year, but it's just too windy out here and out in the country too, as you can tell. I had to put up some beautiful wind chimes I got from my mom. This helped with the birds. So after we had put these up, I haven't had any birds in the, in this area. They're still out in the yard and stuff, which is fine, but it would have helped with strawberries and stuff. Over here I have a ground cherry, which these are awesome because as soon as they're done, they fall off. So you don't even have to guess if they're ready or not like that. And they just peel like that. And they're fantastic. They're really good. I think that they taste like Captain Crunch, the yellow part, of Captain Crunch cereal. They have like a little bit of a sweetness to it and stuff. That's what I think that they taste like, but that was another lily that got burnt. But this was my cantaloupe plant, which actually it did really good this year. The other ones are just small ones, and they kind of got, the bugs got to them and stuff, which I don't spray anything, I don't do any pesticides or anything like that. And we had already gotten enough of the cantaloupe that we wanted this year from the plant. So I'm just gonna let this go and then work it back into the soil and everything like that. Over here, earlier in the summer, I had all onions over here. So once I harvested those, I did another round of lettuce over here. And so once lettuce goes to seed, it becomes bitter, so you can't really eat it after that. So I'm just letting it go to seed so then it can have whatever seeds it wants to drop, have like voluntary plants for next summer. Over here, I have our strawberries, which I had this one last year. The whole thing was strawberries, but some plants were everbearing and some were June bearing. So the everbearing actually like produces strawberries throughout the whole summer, and so the other one just gives you like one good crop basically. And I wanted the continuous one, but I didn't know which ones they were, so I had gotten rid of all of them and I had gotten these. And so this is a variety, and then this is a different variety. I know one of them's Ozark. I think that one might be Ozark or something like that. But last year we actually had, like, that's a big basil plant that came up from last year, and that one did too. So, and there was a couple of chive plants that came up, and I just let them just because I figured maybe the smell of it would deter the birds or something. But, I looked up to see if it would be okay to have strawberries with onions, and I didn't say anything bad about those two. So in the tomato place right here, I have green beans, and of course it's end of season, so I'm just letting these dry out and stuff, and then I'll collect the seeds from the pods. And so over here, this is garlic chives, so it's like garlic and onion, which I do a lot of garlic powder, onion powder when I cook and stuff, so this is actually really a nice plant. It just got past the flowering stage, so right now all these will turn into seeds. And so before it does that, something I need to do is I need to cut all those off, because last year they went to seeds and I'm like, oh, I'll get it, and then I didn't. And the result of that, if you want to come over here, is, well, those different, these different plants over here, here, like all throughout here, but all of these, like if you come over here, all of these are individual plants from seeds that it dropped. And this whole thing, because that's where they were last year, was over here. This whole thing was covered in garlic and chives, and so I had to pull all that. So I'm not gonna let that happen, again this year. But I did plant, I think it's Alyssum, but this is supposed to be a good companion plant for like this setup. You usually want basil with your tomato plants, because that's a good companion plant too. So like that's a different variety of basil. There's basil here, there's a couple basil plants down there. And then on the very ends there's carrots. And I think this is like a cosmic purple carrot. Zoom in on this, you wanna see the color. which I left this one too long, so it's not good. But these are like purple and stuff, so I have so much I need to do, which if you're a gardener, you always have a lot to do. But so I did this year, I did my pepper plants for over here. And something I do want to look up is when to know peppers are ready, because I feel like sometimes I pull them too fast. You know, maybe they could get a little bit bigger, but so if anybody has any tips on that, that'd be great. But yeah, the whole thing is peppers. I had actually put some seeds in here and it didn't look like they were coming up. So then I went to the greenhouse and I got some plants and I planted them. And then after I did that, all these plants started coming up. So I had a lot more plants here than I had anticipated. But we got a couple of like different really big, like good size ones. Like this one definitely, it just fell right off, so I'm sure it's done. But there's orange, red, green, just a bunch of different ones. And I had some lemon balm and stuff come up from last year too. And I actually, earlier in the season, I did plant different plants over here, like flower plants, and then flower plants in here and those pots over there, just to help with like the bees and stuff, so that they'd have something at the very beginning of the season to get them attracted to the garden and everything like that. So that's all I have as far as like crops and stuff. I have come a long way from not just planting everything that I possibly could get my hands on, right? I know that some of us like to do that, like especially when we're gardening. If anything starts to grow, we get really excited about it, but I've kind of honed it down to the stuff that I actually use. And it's been a lot easier to maintain and stuff, so I've really enjoyed that. So if you guys want to tell me about your garden or have any comments or any suggestions for anything that you've noticed in the garden, drop a comment and let me know. Thank you very much for taking your time out. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, thank you very much. Hope you guys have a good day. God bless you. Bye.